Hello, guys, and welcome to the Moon Sliver. Now, I don't know much about this. A game by David Zemansky. This is me continuing my deep dive on his games, because I've been enjoying a lot of them so far. One of them didn't quite work, but that doesn't matter. Click the title to begin. Okay, that's a bit better. Wow, my jump is... Oh. Ellie was sullen and beautiful girl, the youngest of all of them. With a mind unfit for lofty thoughts, she had once come in here to see if there was any old firewood. Otherwise, she stayed in her cluttered house, where it was warm and familiar. Issa was the oldest, and, if not the wisest, certainly the most learned. She remembered when Josiah still lived, and she would sit on this crate and listen to his stories. Those memories, like so many others, were bittersweet. Abel loved Issa, and he loved Danielle and Ellie, but when his mind wasn't turned toward their well-being, it was filled with thoughts of bleak hopelessness. Sometimes he would rifle through the barrel, the promise of undiscovered trinkets raising his spirits, if only temporarily. Yesterday, 4 people lived on the island. Now only 1 remains. Monster's tracks leading from the hatch were brand new, but the wind quickly erased them. The night was wild and cold. Yeah, my jump is mildly pathetic. Issa kept a smile on her face, although she did not feel like smiling. The rusted junk cast shadows on the opposite wall. How do you know Abigail didn't take it, he said. Because I trust him, she said. He's a dismal man, but he would never hurt any of us. Do you trust Ellie? Daniel didn't answer immediately. I trust all of you, he said, because that's how we have to live. Daniel, you're the last one I gave the key to, said Issa. Daniel stared at the mysterious control panels. He didn't meet her eyes. He never met anyone's eyes. I didn't take it, he said. Why would I take it? I'm the one that told you it was missing. He sat down beside the flashlight. What about Ellie? Has Ellie mentioned anything to you? She didn't take it either. Nor did I, nor did Abel. And yet, it's gone. Saying that she knows more than she's telling us. My problem is that she's a liar. Fiddling, she said, fiddling with the knobs on the machine as she paced around. And then I have to keep explaining this to you over and over again. You don't know her like I know her. Exactly. You're not an impartial judge. Saying that she knows more than she's telling us. She keeps the chapel locked. She's the only one with a key. So you're saying she took it? There's a problem with Issa, he said, putting his book down. He was annoyed at being interrupted. Okay, so which of the 5 people am I? Mysterious liquid had drained from the tank and into the water long ago. I'm back when night falls. Oh. There's an evil man on the island, and I know him well. We played together as youths. We've cried together. We've eaten together. We have loved the same women, betrayed the same women. He is my constant companion and my worst enemy. He puppets my arms, legs, and mouth to his own selfish ends, secretly hurts everyone I love as I watch, helpless with their unshed, unfelt blood on my hands. He gifts my flesh with indescribable pleasures and blights my soul with unutterable despair. His name is Sin. We are irrevocably bound together. Surely there exists no hell worse than this. A childlike emptiness I feel, to find the most peaceful solace in fantasy, to find in masquerades a truth more vivid than reality. What sort of twisted villains were the ancient writers, to taunt us with unreachable worlds more beautiful than our own? When our wood runs out, we will be cold, but only so cold as to be uncomfortable. The water is rising, but it will be many years before it reaches our homes. Technically, we survive, but to what end? This island is all the world we know, and it's nothing but broken pieces of a fairy tale. I remember when the moon still shined, when each night was bathed in warm silver, and the shadows were mysterious and friendly, and the island was a place of joy. That was many years ago. Since it disappeared, this place has become cold and stark, plagued by an inexplicable sense of loss and despondency. Daniel and Ellie are young. They don't feel it. They don't remember what the world used to be like. But Abel and I do. They're both filled with longing for intangible joys that it can no longer provide, for friends that do not exist, for feelings that cannot be reasonably felt. When I was younger, I smiled because I felt like smiling. Now that smile is a disguise. She took the knife from the shelf. The blade was dull and rusty, but it was still pointed. She was not smiling. Abel often visited Daniel. He loved to talk, and Daniel loved to listen. Issa and I were out for a walk, said Abel as he entered. I thought I'd stop by before you got caught up in a book. Daniel put his book down. Hello? Hello, he said. His expression confused Abel. Daniel stared at the pile of wood. He hadn't burned wood for months. Let's talk about Ellie instead. Abel was silent for a moment. What about Ellie? Daniel didn't need to answer. Abel swallowed. All right. Let's talk about Ellie. I've been thinking about life, said Abel. Death and uncertainty. Ellie was laying on the bed. Daniel came in. She scowled at him suspiciously and beautifully. What were you and Issa doing in the old power building? What were you talking about? What were you and Abel doing at his house yesterday while I was climbing the mountain? He answered, casually flipping through the book on her table. It was covered in dust. She glared at him. I'm going to get wood, she spat. Do you think I was too stupid to know? He said. I'm going to get wood. What does this key go to? One of the doors over here, I don't know. Strange acidic smell emanates from the pipe. These conversations were not new. Long ago, Issa had learned to love Abel, despite and for his despondency. She hugged him as the wind tossed her long gray hair around. They reached the ruins and strode leisurely through them toward the shoreline. Issa could remember when the old building stood there, filled with families. Daniel sat with Ellie under the tree, his arm around her. "Do you remember when we used to climb that tower over there?" he said. "I wonder how long it will be till the whole island is underwater." The door has rusted shut. It would never open. Ah! My random spam worked. Oh. Ellie was uneasy. The darkness had never felt this menacing before. It seemed alive, watchful. Scoob? Scoob, buddy, where are you? Like, man, I can't find Scoob. Reminds me of that time we were in Egypt. A family of rats lived amid the crates of dried food. They were perhaps the last animals left alive. Nothing. She couldn't explain the feeling. It was as though something was lurking around every corner, staying out of sight, staying ahead of her. I heard soft, scratching footsteps behind him, turned to shine his light. Nothing. She never felt like this before. She knew these tunnels well. She'd been down 100 times. She was lost, confused, and afraid. "I'm a brave boy. I can do this." He called again. "Ellie?" Still no answer. But he heard the footsteps again. "Am I the monster?" Didn't even have to time to cry out as the shadow silhouetted in his flashlight beam lunged toward him. What creature is here? Or is it me? Am I the creature? You know what? I am the creature. It doesn't matter. I'm not the creature, I'm not the creature, I'm not the creature, I'm not the creature, I'm not the creature. Ah! She felt his breath before she felt his claws. And then she was gone. I feel that I need to go farther the other way. And maybe there's an object. Yep. There's only 16 combinations, so you just have to try all of them. Yeah, I didn't know the truth. Hector wouldn't tell it. So down here, no one would find him. He wrote on scraps of paper. Maybe someday someone would discover them. Abel read to escape. Daniel read to feed his lofty, strange thoughts. Issa read to pass the time, but Ellie, as far as Abel knew, she hadn't opened a book in years. What she did all day, he didn't know. Sometimes he worried about her. He worried about all of them. Were they as melancholy as he was? He watched Ellie put her clothes back on, his eyes unfocused, not really seeing her. She didn't say anything, but her lips were pursed, in that eternal, ignorant scowl. He got up from the bed and opened his box. He used to believe that one day he would plant the last few seeds and they would be able to grow food again. But now he knew that the ground was poison. Issa had given the seeds to him for safekeeping. Issa loved him. Issa trusted him. His eyes filled with tears, but he didn't let Ellie see. I'm supposed to meet Issa for a walk, he said. She didn't answer. She just left. I believe the word of Hector and the religious teachings that were passed on to me. Maybe the moon is still out there, hidden beyond some cloud of darkness. Maybe the ones who went before us are waiting there. There's no way to know, and we have to wait for death to find out. The truth be told, I'm ready. I'm ready for the beginning of the new adventure. Issa didn't know what the object was, but she remembered her father tinkering with it in his workshop when she was a girl. The workshop and the adjoining home were now far underwater. She was not a young woman, but even now, seeing it brought her comfort. How do I get into storage? He asked. She shut and locked the box. I've told you before. I forgot. I don't go there often. Press the first 3 until they click. Leave the 4th one alone, she said. Me who just managed to get in without looking? Daniel took down the dead flashlight and replaced it with a fully charged one. Listening to Abel talk and thinking unrelated thoughts, he preferred the sharp illumination of flashlights to the dimness of flame. Very dark. Daniel carefully made his way along the ridge. He knew what Ellie and Abel were doing. He'd known for a long time, and he decided to ignore it, something that was becoming increasingly difficult to do. He reminded himself that they all four had to trust each other and rely on each other, as he had done so many times before. But it was a hollow reminder, and he didn't believe it anymore. He sat cross-legged on the very peak of the mountain, staring off to the horizon. What was out there? He didn't know, and didn't think it knowable. I'm missing a key, but now it's dark, and I can't find it. Oh, that charges my flashlight. I wish I'd learned that earlier. That would have made my life so much easier. Now, I've grabbed a bunch of keys now. Let's see if I can get into the chapel. I can. Daniel was still thinking about his talk with Abel the day before, as he absentmindedly picked up the book. Something caught his eye, rather the lack of something. The Sliver was written by the pure spring rain upon pages of dried leaves and found by a noble Hector. The moon spoke to Hector, saying, "Take this, the Moon Sliver, and make for it a place in the chapel of infinite light. For it's a holy document. Man cannot read it. Its every letter is known to the demons of the night, greatly feared. Known it will protect you. Even should my light cease to bathe the night in holy silver, give it a place of honor, and treat it as a prized possession. For it is your weapon against evil." So Hector took the Moon Sliver and placed it in the chapel of infinite light, upon a silver pedestal. The night was warm with light, and the day was bright with warmth. Again, the moon came to Hector in a dream. "The woodland teeth is vanquished," it said. "Your people are safe for now, but it still waits, lurking in the depths. It fears the Moon Sliver, and it will not dare appear again while this holy document remains in your possession. But know this, should the Moon Sliver ever be destroyed, even my divine light will not be able to save you from the wrath of the woodland teeth and the darkness of hell. Keep it safe, keep it ready. May you live in prosperity on this island that I give you. Let your prosperity be a sign that the words I speak are true." Woodland Teeth, the monster of the forest, was more tenacious than the other demons. It hated the people of Hector and desired to take the island away from them. And it lurked in the dark corners and unseen passageways, scheming horrific schemes. It came to pass that Ursula was taken, stalked by the Woodland Teeth in the dark underground, attacked and dragged down to hell. And the moon came to Hector in a dream and said, "Hector, the time has come. The great enemy has arrived. You would all do well to tremble, for his power is great and his depravity is unspeakable. Go, take the Moon Sliver from its pedestal and do battle." So Hector went to the chapel of infinite light, retrieved the Moon Sliver, and went into the tunnels. He turned to the mountain. Issa couldn't remember the last time she'd been under the mountain. There was no reason to come here, but she looked everywhere else. She clutched the old knife in her right hand. Yesterday, the Moon Sliver went missing. Today, Ellie, Daniel, and Abel are all nowhere to be found. She knew the world of Hector by heart. The sinister implications were not lost on her. Abel heard her answer, and answered, "I'm here." There's something strange about his voice, something Issa didn't like. "What are you doing here?" "I'm reading of ages past, he said. You know where Enel and Daniel are? She said. I do not. They're missing. They're missing, and the Moon Sliver is missing. Do you understand me? Do you understand what this implies? I do. Night will fall in a few hours, and we need to stick together. We can sleep in the same house, mine or yours. We'll keep the fire burning. We'll keep the doors locked, and we'll pray, Abel. We'll pray to the unseen moon for mercy and protection. Are you happy here, Isa? You can't stay in the dark. It thrives in the dark. Are you happy? Yes. I'm happy. There were tears in his eyes, and he struggled to control his voice. Isa, I know you. I know every inch of you, and I know every corner of your mind. You aren't happy. None of us are happy. Isa didn't respond. I'm staying here. Tears were flowing freely now. I would like it if you stayed with me, Isa. Please stay with me. I'll find you, Abel. I let it out, Isa. I destroyed the Moon Sliver. I burnt it yesterday after talking with Daniel. Abel, no, why? Do you want to be dragged to hell? Do you want us to be dragged there with you? We're already in hell. This island. This horrible, barren, lonely island. This place of sin. This is hell. I saw the blasphemous scraps of paper Jeremiah found. Many years ago, I read them before they were destroyed. Perhaps I was the only one who did. I didn't believe them, but I've lived life since then. I've seen the truth of their words. I've clutched in her hand. I did not read the blasphemous scraps, Isa, but I did. And I remembered them with incredible clarity. Fear not the dark shadows or the scratches in the night, for the woodland teeth is your salvation. It is your escape. Woodland teeth is not here to take us to hell. It is here to take us away. I could see him ahead, her flashlight beam cutting through the sticky fog. He was sitting in a chair, a book on his lap. She could see he was crying too. I believe the word of Hector, she said. I will not go to hell. Please trust me. Please. I believe in the word of Hector, she said. She put the knife to her chest, points first. No, Isa! Please don't stay with me. Don't leave me alone. I love you. I love you so much. Closed her eyes and pushed. Remembered where her heart was located from her father's old books. Abel was too slow to catch her body. Knelt beside her and sobbed. He was not a strong young man anymore. Isa's body was light. He would take her out to the water. She'd always loved the water. Then what? Read? Read until it found him? No. He didn't feel like reading anymore. He was ready to rid this entire cursed island, books and all. He'd simply wander, aimlessly and freely. Take one last look at the island. Feel the wind blowing the memories away. Then when night fell, he'd return and wait. Huh. That was interesting. I can see why this game wouldn't be as popular as some of his others. It's basically just a walking simulator, but I don't know. I liked it. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye. Just like a lot of these games, the mouse sensitivity. Oop. I'm a dumb. Editor, cut that out. It's me, I'm the editor.